I beg you, do not flirt with the strange man. Rebecca can't take it.
Let her do what she will.
My wife will do what you want.
My wife will flirt with whoever she wants.
Cornelia, how's your morning? You go to church? You.
Yeah, I go to church.
Yeah, you're familiar with the kind of church you go to.
Yeah.
They sing Christ's praises.
Hey.
And your pastor preaches of a Savior.
I listen a little bit.
And when it's over, what do you do?
I go find. Do I see Meru and Alicia and Julianne?
You see Alekia and Meru and Alicia and Meru and Julianne, yes.
We're not hard to find. We sit in the same row every Sunday.
Yes.
Hi. How are you?
I'm. Would you believe me if I said I'm fine?
Nope. Do you want to come to our house?
We're gonna make lunch.
Thanks.
Dinner.
So much. I actually, I can't. I have to go see teachers about the work that I was gone for.
Cornelia, they don't work on Light's Day.
I still have to go see them. It's kind of a thing because of things. Anyway, I don't have a lot of time. But I do have something for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was thinking about Mattia and how we kind of only found out what happened to her by chance. And it would be nice to not have that happen again. So I asked Andrew to write me this script. It's kind of like an emergency contact thing where you can, because you can tell it what parameters constitute an emergency and who to contact and what to send them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it for the Halo?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. It's really great. And so I wanted to just make sure you have this.
Thanks. This is really handy. Do you want us to walk with you to your teacher? I got nothing else going on today.
It's really okay. I think I'd like to go on.
You could also come for dinner tonight. It's just us at our house. Everybody else is gone.
Munching.
Thank you. I may take you up on that.
Please do. And our door is always open, and if Gabriel and Laura are asleep, our window's always open. So.
We sleep at very weird times.
It's true. We sleep on the floor.
I observed this, actually. I take off because I got to go to the
We give you hugs before you go.
Thanks. She hugs hard.
So, where do you go?
I head to, well, where do I expect to find all of my teachers?
Church is out, so those that were attending at King's College Cathedral are out, but it's in fact, right now it's really easy to find them.
I go find them.
You go to the food,
Yeah.
they're there, and so and he sees you. And Cornelia, how are you?
He did.
How are you doing?
Thanks so much.
I'm doing surprisingly well, and yeah, I'm doing fine.
Is there any way I can help?
I have a helper.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you in our classes again.
It won't be about 2 weeks.
Okay. Be safe.
I'll do my best.
Remember what I taught you.
Yes.
And who else do you can,
Oh, actually, Professor Bear,
yes.
I had hoped to give this to Timaeus.
I can deliver it to him for you if you wish.
Thank you. Would you please put it into his hands?
I will put it into his hands, and no one will open it nor read it before I do so.
Thank you.
He takes them. The train, if you want it, leaves at 4 p.m. Yeah, leaves 1 at 4 p.m. So.
All right. I probably have to take a few minutes to do some quick packing and grab lunch.
Fresh clothes, lunch, food, whatever food you want to take along with you, and get all of that in order. And when the time is appropriate, you head on down, and the train comes in from the north. You get on. This is going to be a long train trip. It's got a couple of changes that you'll have to do. I think it's the longest train trip you've ever done. Put your bags up there. As it is, this first portion of the trip, you're in a regular compartment. However, at your first transfer, you'll be able to move on to a night train and you'll have your own sleeping compartment. The doors shut. There's the cry of all aboard. And with a the train begins to move. And you leave Wand behind you. To begin a 37-hour train trip. You have been on the train for 37 hours. They have been not on a train. They've been able to walk around, go places, get fresh air, whatever.
See the sights.
You have traveled across plains,
No.
through rolling hills,
Maybe.
and mountain ascents and descents, through deep forest and along rivers, to a wide inland river delta. Now, outside the window, the landscape has changed to the broad Malacation steppe, parted by the lazily meandering Tispa River. The city's skyline comes into view, a mesmerizing blend of towers and domes so prevalent in Eastern architecture. Prosvoron Station, your final destination, looms ahead. It is a place where East meets West, where the mysteries of the East intertwine with the elegance of the realm. The train slows to a squealing halt that physically shakes you with the reality of your decision that has brought you so far from home. Stepping out of your carriage, you've got your, whatever your, I assume it's like a over-carry or whatever that you've got. Stepping out of your carriage, you are immediately greeted by the calls of street vendors and the scent of freshly roasted coffee. And a kaleidoscope of colors in the market stalls, all beckoning you deeper into the labyrinthine streets of Bahatia, the capital of Malacation. So, what now? How do you find your way?
Well, I start by getting some coffee.
Okay, you get coffee.
I do. I need to continue. I need to go further.
Yes, you do. You're standing there drinking coffee.
Yeah. And I am looking for people in uniform.
Okay. You do see people.
Romish uniform.
Romish uniform. Give me a. You see a couple standing in front of a help desk. People are moving along. Guys with duffels.
There's only 2 uniforms.
Right now, there's only 2 uniforms in sight.
I will go talk to them.
And you walk up to them.
Well met, soldiers.
They turn around and look at you and say, "Hello."
Hi. Where have you come from?
I am from northern Kirond. My name is David.
Where are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And my name is mine. You don't need to talk to him.
Austin.
My name's Marcus.
Oh!
How are you doing? I'm from far more interesting places.
Oh,
Yes.
but you live here now.
Well, we're legionnaires in the Legion of the Realm.
Oh.
Yes, we do say.
And you were stationed.
Yes, we're reporting in. We enjoyed our time away and are now reporting back to our very important duties, defending realm, defending you.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. Would you like to have a little meal with us before we go on our way? Spend some time?
Sure. Yeah, it's food time, right?
There is a lovely cafe just around the corner. Here, come along.
I make sure I know how to get back.
Okay, well, they walk you out of the station, and it's down the street, and there's stairs immediately that go down into a cool little cafe, and there's food, and actually, by the way, it's noon, so munchin', time for munchin', yeah, it's just after, dinner, sorry, blah, 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 blah. It's just afternoon, so a very fine time to grab dinner. And spend time with these two men that are about to go to the front and not see women for months on end.
Cornelia!
Do they buy the food?
Oh, sure, they'll buy it. The taller, darker, handsome guy, definitely, they'll cover the tab.
So you're headed to the
Marcus.
Yes, we are.
Dangerous.
It is.
How do you get there? Do you have like special military trains?
Actually, we get there by air. The realm now has transports that go through the sky.
I knew it.
And we are going
Never
to
mind,
be going
please, for-
on one of them.
That would be really cool to see.
Yes, it is.
I need some more.
And they carry on conversation. They're very comfortable. The dark-haired, tall, handsome guy is very comfortable. Casually starts moving around the table in your general
Got
direction.
more space than I do.
It's like,
And
so.
they ask where you're from and he compliments how pretty you are and your choice of clothing. You have a very, very, very pretty air about you. Did you ask your name?
You give the whole thing.
Cornelia.
Cornelia. That's a pretty name.
Cornelia Gilbertine Christian.
David, we need to check on our stuff. We'll be right back. He's like, what?
I follow them.
Into the men's room.
No. To the door. Just wait.
They don't leave you. There is a hasty powwow. And,
You should have told them that once you were on the airship.
And at a certain point they come back and they say,
Apparently I wasn't going to get on the air.
and they finish the meal.
That was more fun.
And again, the taller one, Marcus, says, so what brings you here to Bahia?
Well, I'm actually on my way to see someone at the front.
Really? Who might that be?
That would be my father.
Miss Christianis. Yes. Yes, indeed. Wonderful.
I hope it will be. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Well, we've clearly taken up too much of your time. Wouldn't want to interfere with your important business. So,
Well, I think we're headed the same way, aren't we? To the airfield. This has
yes.
been such a pleasant conversation. I would hate to cut it off prematurely.
Indeed. Well, then we should go then.
Lovely.
Why don't we go? We'll go.
There we go.
go?
Got your bag, David? Yeah, I got my bag. Okay, we go.
That's from the air from Christianus' bow.
And yes,
He
they
shoots these two guys for bringing his daughter to the
Yes.
front. Yeah.
and they go back and
And all of his sisters, cousins, and aunts.
and there's actually there are carriages, and they hail the carriage, and specifically they get a carriage that is going to the north of the city, and they get in and help you in, and they are incredibly they treat you they are not doing anything wrong. There is nothing wrong to see here. And yeah, extremely respectful. The carriage, it takes you out of the city and northward, and you reach the staging grounds north of Bahia. And it's of note that as you realize then at a certain point what had looked like hills, you realize are not hills. They're ships, airships. Cargo material support for the front is brought in. It is a camp, well organized, and they find the first opportunity to hand you off to someone of higher rank than them, and they disappear
I have no idea.
as though they had never been.
Did I ever get their last name?
No. No, definitely not.
So I met these guys named Marcus and David. So there are 25 Davids in our company.
Yeah, but these two seem to be joined at the hip.
Doesn't have.
And
Oh, yeah, they're
probably to speed the process along, something close to what has just happened happens about 3 times. And each
Oh,
time as
no.
they realize who you are and where you're going,
Yeah, sure.
they go from grumpy to being, okay, yes, we'll help you quite along, no worries here. And you are escorted
Try something myself, but
onto an airship called the Praetor. It is a very large vessel, comparable in size to the largest of the done shipping transports. And it's like walking into an open maw when you walk up the ramp into the ship. But you are given a place, effectively sort of the second navigator's position, where unexpected officers of certain authority get to sit, and they get you there, and they've done a good job, and they've been very respectful too. And it is not long after that, as the loading has finished, that cargo is stowed very carefully, center line, soldiers go on board, they sit down, and the ramp is pulled up, the seal's closed, you're sitting there. They bring the cables that are down, and have been holding in place, and let go the cables, and you feel the ship as it were inhale, because from your position you actually see portions open out, and as it does so, the ship moves beneath you and gathers itself, and you see there's large circular, they just look like rings, but the interior begins to glow blue, and those shift downward, and the vessel lifts up into the sky and moves away, giving you a gorgeous view of the entire base, the grounds. And the vessel comes about, turns to the north, and from your position you only see one of the rings. The rings that have been pointed down rotate, and the vessel begins to move forward at pace. The step of Malachia unfurls beneath the Praetor as it sails silently through the chill-laden air driven by its dimly glowing impellers. The legionnaires aboard seem more intent upon sleeping than looking at the view below. They sit bundled in heavy coats and fur-lined hats, their breaths forming ephemeral clouds that dissipate into the cold ether. Beneath the airship, the Malachian steppes unfurl like a never-ending quilt of snow, their rolling plains stretching out to meet the distant horizon. The landscape is a pristine canvas of white, marked only by the occasional dark silhouette of a solitary tree, its boughs heavy with snow, and the sinuous ribbon of the partly frozen river meandering through the wilderness. The world, for a long time, you follow the Timor River. At a certain point, there's a tributary, and it turns and follows that. That tributary is called the Root River. The world below appears hushed and timeless, as if it has been held in the grip of winter for centuries. The steppes, normally a place of vibrant life and ceaseless movement, are now a realm of serene solitude. The airship's shadow, a fleeting specter, dances upon the snowy canvas as it glides above. In places, herds of wild horses, antelope, and other llama-like herbivores move with a stoic determination across the frozen wasteland, their silhouettes mere shadows against the pallid landscape. From above, the land resembles a sprawling mosaic, frosted fields and steppe stitched together with the finest threads of emerald and gold. The gentle curve of the Root River traces its serpentine path through the landscape, a silvery ribbon reflecting the fading sunlight. Here and there, patchwork fields rimmed with ice attest to the presence of farms. Clusters of villages, their humble dwellings crowned with thatched roofs, nestle among the green and gray expanse, smoke above them curling upwards. On the south side of the river, ancient woods appear, outliers of the dark forest to the west. As the sun dips lower, painting the heavens with strokes of pink and orange, the land on the south side of the river changes, rising and breaking into hills covered in ancient forest. The Praetor at last reaches its landing ground as the sun dips below the western horizon. In the twilight, as the stars begin to emerge like scattered diamonds across the indigo sky, the land disappears into the gathering darkness. You have come to the edge of Christopsis and its siege. The reverse of what you've seen before comes in. Of note, you do see at one point the wreckage of a former airship crashed. Fire having burned it. Not simply like nice fire, more like fire burned through it. But at this point, they have established enough control that this area that you land, which is still some 10 kilometers east of Christopsis, and you're able to disembark, and you wield that mighty card of power called Christianus, and in shock and surprise, you are immediately provided transport that takes you to where your father will be. I believe it is the 5th Legion, and you're actually 503rd, and are led to a large tent, and there are guards outside and people within.
I don't think you
And the guide says to you, Christianus' commandant. It is night. There is light within. You enter?
Yes, I go into the command tent.
You enter. Inside, this is clearly not your father's sleeping area. It's not his quarters. This tent has a table. It's got a map laid out. There are men gathered around, various positions of command. But standing, not quite nearest to you, but pretty near, is your father, his hands on the table, looking at the map as you enter. And the man on the far side of the table from him looks up, sees you, and says, "Oh my." And Christianus looks up and then effectively looks at him, turns around. "Cornelia." And he envelops you in his arms and holds you and says, "Cornelia, what are you doing here?"
I love you. I miss you.
"I love you too." Not to ask a silly question, but what are you doing here? It is good to see you, of course, but
So much to tell you. But it can
well, it is late. The rest of you are dismissed. And have you eaten? Dennison, bring me stew. Yeah. Food is brought. You are fed. Your father sits with you and finally says, "What has brought you here? What went wrong? What's..." And he lays his hand on you, just on your shoulder, just for a moment, and you feel a pulse of virtue flow through you. He's like, "What's wrong?" She's not pregnant.
Is that what he was checking?
Oh my goodness.
Is he seriously checking?
He was.
You don't know that.
If that's the obvious thing he jumps to for why you would be here,
Could you move side?
He's a father. She's a daughter.
I needed to see you. Speak to you.
I am here. Please, talk to me.
I have a confession to make. So I was at home last week, just paying bills and such.
I love you.
What?
Yes, that is what a father says at this point.
Anyway, I snooped in your office. And that's always been your space. And I just turned it upside down. But that's your space, and I did not honor my father. I'm sorry.
I love you. I forgive you. Did you clean it up afterwards?
Yeah. I found the wall that's not supposed to be where it is. I don't suppose there's a way behind it without the towel.
That is... The wall is supposed to be there. That was...
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
I think I understand what you're saying.
have another confession to make. I have been angry with you. I have been angry with you because my mother is dead. In my heart, I have killed you at least 5 times. But this heart doesn't rule over me anymore. Jesus set me free. He forgave me, and so I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you.
Thank you. I did not want you to be without a mother any more than I wanted to be without a wife. I know it is hard growing up without your mother. I knew how to raise a boy. I didn't know how to raise a girl. I love you, but I made mistakes, I know.
Will you tell me about her?
He nods. And he speaks of her, talks of how they met. That he had met her while he was at Want. And that he loved her very much, and she loved him very, very much. And the most beautiful thing that they ever did together was bringing you into the world. And no one could ever fill her place. But there's no reason to hate her. I'm not at fault for her death. Mm-hmm. No husband wants his wife to die.
Father, I don't believe you've ever once lied to me. The world in which we move is filled with duplicity. And I am sick of it. Just one question. One yes, in good faith. Did you love her?
With all my heart. I never stopped loving her. I never stopped loving my wife. What would have made you fear that I could? I couldn't stop loving her any more than I could stop loving you.
I'm not afraid.
Good. Good.
Practical things. I authorized expenditures out 2 months, so you should have some of these from the steward.
Excellent.
I had opportunity to practice some hospitality while I was at
Oh,
home.
Oh.
I thought I was welcoming a stranger. Duncan, Elmer, and Serena.
his visage does not fall. It shudders. There was an earthquake, but it is well constructed and has held together up to this point. And so he says simply, really, what brought him to the estate?
He is my uncle, isn't he?
He is. We have not seen eye to eye for many years. I don't think he approved of my marrying your mother.
And for this reason, I was never to know him.
We did not seek out his company. And you would be amazed how quickly 15 years pass. We never had cause to go to Sereno. And Sereno never came to us. Is he well?
He seemed full of sorrow. Oh, well, yes.
He is an elder mage, yes?
Yes.
Of the red?
Yes.
I could imagine why he might be full of sorrow.
How many other relatives do I have?
Well, you have as many relatives as a wealthy young woman should have.
But not the dignity of knowing them.
Well, you certainly now, as you have grown older, have the opportunity to meet them and get to know them and judge whether or not you should. One can choose one's friends. One must choose whether or not one's family is one would spend time with.
His company was very pleasant.
Well, that's a relief. How long did he visit? And what was his reason for coming?
To dinner.
Oh,
I don't remember.
I would have imagined that he had more I cannot imagine that he thought I was there. Perhaps he was surprised to find you there.
He expressed great surprise at your not being there.
I'm not surprised then. Ah, yes. Well, you've met him. It was not an unpleasant event. That is good. Came for dinner. Went on his way. And then you got on a train and traveled across the entire realm and out to the very edges to see me. It is good to see you.
The Count said I might visit his mother's people.
Did he? Well, when your classes and schedule allow, that might be informative. I wonder if he's ever in Serena these days. He is well traveled, at least in my experience.
I think he had just come from
Taquan. Hmm. As I said, he's well traveled. But the rest of the family might be equally pleasant. Are you tired?
Yes.
Perhaps I should have arrangements made. You have a cot, a bed set aside for you in your father's tent. Could have gone worse. It could have gone worse.
Did he hear what I said, though?
He heard what you said, but you don't have the talent. And so
Unless you do.
he's having to interpret it. However, I can tell you that should you ever go back to the house, by the time that night was over, the safe had been opened and its contents had been burned. And our camera, as it were, pans back as you're sitting in the tent and on the front, and Matthew and Alderon are not far away, but you are in the tent of the man who killed your mother and the High King of the realm. And yet, there's still part of him that's a good man. But that'll be for another episode. And